The wind on the slopes of Kholat Syakhl does not howl, it screams. A thin metallic shriek carried through the valleys of the northern Urals. A sound that seems to devour itself the moment it rises. Nothing in that wasteland echoes properly. The mountain absorbs every breath, every vibration, every living thing that dares to disturb its eternal white silence. On the night of February 2, 1959, this mountain witnessed something so violent, so inexplicable, that more than 6 decades later the world is still trying to understand what happened to the 9 young hikers who walked into its jaws. Tonight, we follow them, step by step, into the cold vortex that swallowed them whole. Before fear, there was warmth. The photos recovered from their final journey show bright eyes, flushed cheeks, heavy winter coats dusted with powdery snow. Igor Dyatlov, the self-assured, brilliant leader, Zeneda with her fearless smile, Doroshenko and Krivonishenko. Always joking, Rustam Slobodin. Disciplined and sturdy, Dubinina. Stubborn and sharp, Kolevatov. Quiet and thoughtful, Thibaut Brinolel. Gentle and kind, and the strange outsider Zolotaryov. Older, enigmatic, with secrets no one ever truly knew. These weren't naive adventurers, they were elite Soviet mountaineers, trained to endure storms, frost, hunger, long marches, and complete isolation. They spoke the language of the snow. They trusted the mountain, and trusted each other. Their trail began calmly. The first days were routine: thick snow, sharp winds, freezing nights. Nothing unusual, nothing threatening. But as they pushed farther north, the air grew heavier, the sky dimmed faster each day, and the wind took on a strange hollow resonance. One diary entry noted, "Tonight the wind feels different, as if it is coming from inside the mountain." They laughed it off, the way young people laugh at shadows on long winter nights. On February 1st, after breaking the forest line, they made a decision no experienced mountaineer should logically make. They marched straight into an exposed slope, blind in the storm, and pitched their tent on a bare, unforgiving incline. No trees for shelter, no natural windbreak, no warmth. They must have believed morning would bring clarity. Instead, the night brought terror. Something happened inside that tent. Something so sudden and overpowering that 9 rational adults tore their way out of shelter with knives, slashing the fabric from the inside, spilling themselves into minus 30 degrees Celsius blackness without boots, without coats, without thinking. The tracks in the snow showed no sign of panic in their steps, but the very act of abandoning the tent that way speaks of a fear beyond reason. Whatever they faced in those minutes was worse than frostbite, worse than disorientation, worse than death by exposure. They moved together, as if driven by a single force. Barefoot, half-dressed, they descended the slope toward a dark forest nearly a kilometer away. The first bodies were found under a cedar tree, stripped down to underwear, skin burned as if scorched by fire or chemical heat. The branches above were snapped high, disturbingly high, as if someone climbed frantically, perhaps to look back toward the tent or away from something approaching. The snow beneath them had melted at some point, refrozen into warped ice. Their fingertips were raw, torn. They fought desperately to survive the night, scraping bark, huddling near a fire that sputtered against the wind. Farther up the slope, the search teams discovered Dyatlov, Kolmogorova, and Slobodin, each frozen in postures of brutal struggle. Crawling, forcing themselves toward the tent against all logic, pushing against the mountain as if returning to the source of their terror. Slobodin's skull bore a long fracture, yet without the external wounds you'd expect. All 3 died facing the direction of the tent, as if, even in their final breath, they needed to return to what they had fled. Months later, when the thaw came, the remaining 4 were found deep in a ravine. What rescuers discovered there would scar them for life. Dubinina's tongue was gone, her eyes missing, soft tissue removed in a manner neither animalistic nor accidental. Thibaut Brinolel's skull was smashed with catastrophic force akin to a car crash. Dubinina and Zolotaryov had massive chest fractures, the kind only produced by extreme internal pressure. With no external marking, no animal, no weapon, no fall could replicate these injuries. Their clothing carried traces of radiation, and the snow around them had an odd amber tint. Investigators wrote a single chilling line: "No force known to man could have caused this." And yet the Soviet government closed the case swiftly, citing a compelling natural force, a phrase meaningless by design. Files were sealed, autopsy notes were altered, witness statements disappeared, radiation readings were erased. The area was quietly restricted for years. The truth was not buried, it was suffocated, smothered under layers of bureaucracy and silence, as if whatever happened on that mountain was too dangerous for the public to know. Over the decades, theories multiplied. An avalanche that never happened, infrasound-induced panic, secret military tests, chemical exposure, rocket shockwaves, escaped prisoners, hostile tribes, Yetis, UFOs, bright orange spheres witnessed in the sky that night by dozens of locals. Each theory explained something, but none explained everything. Not the bones crushed from within, not the missing tongue, not the radioactive clothing, not the organized, disciplined footprints showing zero signs of infighting or chaos, and certainly not the single, paralyzing moment that drove 9 experts to run into lethal cold without shoes. Even today, hikers report strange sensations near the site: nausea, disorientation, a pressure behind the eyes, a ringing in the ears. In the early dawn, when the world is blue and half asleep, some say the wind seems to whisper, not like wind, but like voices caught in the snow. Soft, urgent, pleading. Others swear they've seen shapes on the ridge, silhouettes frozen against the horizon, watching with hollow patience. No one knows the truth. Maybe the hikers stumbled into a forbidden test. Maybe they witnessed something Soviet officials could never allow to be spoken. Maybe the mountain itself, ancient, cold, unfeeling, unleashed a phenomenon their minds could not grasp. Maybe fear itself, raw and primal, exploded inside that tent. What is certain is simple: whatever they encountered acted instantly and universally. It obliterated logic, shattered discipline, and replaced survival instinct with the need to escape, even if escape meant death in the open snow. That kind of fear is older than language, older than history, older than the mountain itself. It is the fear of seeing something the human mind was never meant to understand. Today, a small memorial stands in the valley, bearing 9 names, 9 smiles frozen in black and white photographs, 9 stories that ended too early. And as the northern lights flicker across the Urals, coloring the snow in ghostly greens and violets, some visitors swear they hear faint laughter drifting through the air, as if somewhere beyond sight the group still walks together, forever young, forever climbing, forever searching for warmth that never came. Or maybe it is only the wind. But on Kholat Syakhl, the wind has always sounded like something alive.